There are surprisingly a lot to explore in this area, with this just being an alpha demo. The key mechanic, while at its core is similar to the stamina mechanic of Elden Ring,
A lot of the other companies have tried their own take on the genre. While a few of them succeeded, most definitely did not.
is the new series really as good as everyone says? And can the new 3 demo convince an Elden Ring player to play the other new games? Hey everyone, I am the Bonfire Keeper and welcome to my channel.
I have always heard nothing but good things about the new series, especially about Nioh 2, like how good the series is, and how despite being a Soulslike, they don't just copy and paste the traditional Soulslike formula. Instead, they improvise and put their own spin on the genre, making the combat more unique and a lot more different than Elden Ring or any other mainstream Souls games. So I have always had my eyes on them. And when Nioh 3 got announced at the Sony State of Play earlier this month, I thought this would be the perfect time for me to try the demo and see if this is something I would be into. And honestly, I was not ready for what I was about to experience.
So I have been playing a lot of Elden Ring Nightreign, and the biggest problem I always face when switching to a non-FromSoft game after playing a FromSoft title obsessively is adjusting to the controls. While most of it is the same, I always mix up that attacks around R1 and R2 and it's square and triangle or X and Y instead. While Nioh 3 does have a controller layout similar to Elden Ring with R1 and R2 attacks, I didn't like the combo buttons for that and chose to stick with the basic layout. So a lot of my deaths in this demo was due to the fact that I was trying to attack with the wrong buttons. So this game has two main playstyles, a samurai playstyle and a ninja playstyle. Samurai playstyle is slower and more methodical, while ninja playstyle is a lot faster. Samurai style is more focused on parrying, while the ninja playstyle is more focused on dodging. I have also felt that the two styles aren't perfectly balanced for now. The ninja style is a lot stronger than the samurai style. I am hoping they would be more balanced in the full game. And in purely gameplay perspective, I preferred the ninja style a lot more than the samurai style. So I played almost the full demo with the ninja and didn't really switch to samurai at all. The first thing I immediately found out to be true is how different the combat is. The key mechanic, while at its core is similar to the stamina mechanic of Elden Ring, where your stamina depletes when you attack or dodge, still feels very different with when your ki depletes to 0, leaving you completely vulnerable and open to any attack that would kill you in an instant. I think the only game I could remember playing that had a similar combat system was the demo for the Khazan the First Berserker. I have not played the full game for that either, but I have heard Khazan being called a Nioh-like when it was released, and now I could see why. The lead up to the first boss was pretty linear, and the first boss, Yamagata Masakage, while I wouldn't call a particularly hard first boss, it does encourage you to learn and be familiar with all the mechanics before you move on with the game. I was getting adjusted to the combat system while fighting him. The only small thing that was bothering me a little was I would have preferred the burst counter with R2 didn't switch your style to the one you are not using. I understand the logic behind why the game does that because it expects you to use both styles simultaneously, but I would have preferred to do it on my own terms rather than being forced to do it. But it was not a massive deal breaker or anything, and I know that I should definitely try to learn and use both of these styles to fully utilize all the mechanics and not just stick to ninja because it felt more fun and does way more damage. But since it was just a demo, I decided to stick with the one I liked more for now. And it took me a few tries, but I did get the first boss pretty soon.
So far we are off to a good start. It had a good tutorial boss as the game slowly eases you in. Now that we are done with all the tutorials, it was time to find answers to some questions I had that I wanted to figure out throughout this video. Like, if the game's combat is going to be something I would be into as we progress and unlock more stuff, how does the game hold up visually? How does the exploration system works now that this game has more open world elements? If you had any such questions, stick to the end and I hope this video would help answer them.
After beating the first boss and moving to the next zone, this is where the game really opens up. The next zone was just a massive field with several camps spread out through it, letting you decide in which order you want to tackle them or if you want to ignore them and just move on with the main campaign. This is where I saw some older Nioh fans express concern about it going open worldish. I personally don't have too much of a problem with open world games, with Elden Ring being my favorite game of all time and all, but I do understand the oversaturation that can come from open world games. The open field in this zone was interesting. It had several areas that can look very similar but had distinct identities of their own. Some zones felt more similar to Elden Ring or other Souls games, with having harder enemies that you needed to clear out head on, and some camps are more similar to Assassin's Creed, where you have the option to clear out the camp with stealth. The stealth in this game wasn't super smooth or anything, but it was definitely doable. Despite being on the same zone, the camps aren't in same difficulty level at all. Some camps were easier and didn't take too much effort, and some camps were way stronger, and clearing the final yokai like the wolf with the claws after killing all the other enemies in there felt way harder at my level. And with some camps, it was if you attack one enemy, the whole camp would charge at you at the same time. This area also had a lot of upgrades and skills hidden for us to find, but I felt there were more upgrade points for samurai style than it did for ninja style, which was disappointing for me because I was playing more of ninja and I wanted to see more skills for it. But I'm guessing they did it to balance out both styles, since ninja styles feels way stronger than samurai from the start. There are surprisingly a lot to explore in this area, with this just being an alpha demo. But unfortunately, despite this demo being out for 12 days, I only had the last 2 days to play the game. So I didn't have a lot of time to explore and find all the secrets, because I wanted to see more of the main campaign, which was a mistake because that meant I moved on to the next area, which was way harder without properly leveling up and finding all the upgrades. The next area once again was the pace-wise change in gameplay. After coming from an open and relatively big zone, this level was completely linear without any need for exploration at all. And despite this level being way harder and me getting my ass kicked a lot, I actually enjoyed this level a lot more than the previous level, both visually and design wise. Now I'm not a stickler for graphics, and I don't mind if the graphics are bad as long as the gameplay is good. And I understand that this is just an alpha version and visuals should get a lot better in the final version of the game. It didn't look much different than the previous new games. But that wasn't the problem for me. It's that when you have such an open zone where everything is the same bright color scheme, it can strain your eyes a little bit. And not only this new level was a visual upgrade, it looked really cool, especially with the bloody sky, the darker and the redder theme, and the music in this area was also amazing, giving you a feeling that you are in a truly inhuman and dangerous area. I think they really nailed everything with this level. But the thing that sets this area truly apart is the health steal mechanic. On top of the yokai enemies being way stronger here, if they hit you, your full health would decrease until you hit them again and gain it back, which adds a new challenge on how you tackle these crucible areas. This mechanic did remind me of Demon Souls, where if you die your health bar decreases. It's not similar, but it adds a similar challenge to it. While this wasn't too bad in this level, I'm sure things would get way more challenging in the full game when you unlock even higher level crucible areas. One thing that I really enjoyed playing the demo was enemy varieties. I only explored 3 levels if we also count the tutorial area, and already there are a lot of variety in enemy types. So you never really get bored or feel tedious that you are fighting the same enemies over and over again. And it also adds a lot of fun to the gameplay, fighting the different harder enemies like the old woman with a jug or the flying ghost samurai, and figuring out different ways to tackle them. And I can only assume if they have this much variety in just the demo, the full game would have a lot more, and that makes me really excited. Also, the designs of every yokai are just absolutely amazing, and as someone who really loves Japanese folklore, seeing how many of these designs are heavily based on them, I had an amazing time interacting with them. And so was the case for the final boss of the demo, the Jakotsu Baba. Firstly, the design of this boss felt genuinely terrifying. It felt like I was reading a Japanese horror book, and this boss also made me wish I actually took my time to explore and properly level up before, because I was level 18 and she was kicking my ass. I loved absolutely everything about this fight. Her moveset was really fast, matching the ninja style, so I couldn't just go behind her and attack, and she was also hitting really hard, taking chunks of my health bar, and at the same time lowering my full health and making it more challenging. She felt like she was going to be the first boss in the game to propose a challenge where I need to learn how to perfect dodge or parry. I got stuck at her for a while, and it was clear that I would need time to learn her moves perfectly to beat her if I want to do it on ninja style. But since I was playing it on the last day, I didn't have much time left. One thing that was pretty clear to me at this point was despite this game being pretty different than Elden Ring or other Souls game, it's extremely fun and definitely something I would enjoy. So I was definitely going to buy the game. So I thought why not give co-op a try and see how that works in this game. And beat her solo when I get the full game and have enough time to grind for hours. As I tried summoning another player, and I was surprised how I didn't even have to wait a minute before someone showed up. I had no idea Nioh had such an online player base active. You use Ochoko cups to summon other players, which is a limited resource in the game, and with a co-op buddy the fight didn't even took longer than 2 minutes. The other player was using samurai style, and it made me realize how I shouldn't underestimate the samurai style and definitely learn it because deflecting instead of dodging makes this fight a lot easier. It also looks like he was using skills that I didn't find because I didn't have much time to explore. With two of us constantly attacking her, her health bar vanished pretty quickly even before she could do half of her moves. And I felt a little disappointed that I didn't have time to beat her on my own because it would have felt incredibly satisfied, but it gave me another reason to actually get the game, so I can do it when the full game releases next year.
Ever since FromSoft games got popular in the mainstream gaming media, a lot of the other companies have tried their own take on the genre. While a few of them succeeded, most definitely did not. And while I only played just the demo for Nioh 3, I can see why people consider this series to fall under the first group. I love Elden Ring and other Souls games, but this felt something completely new and refreshing in its own way. I love Elden Ring's combat, but that's a lot simpler than the more interesting and very complex mechanic this series seems to have, which gives this series its own identity and makes this very different than any other Souls-like. I do hope they polish it more and add more varieties to the weapons and the combats before its release, but it's definitely going to be a day one buy for me. But the release is still very far away, and I already want to play more. So now I'm going to try and finish both Nioh 1 and Nioh 2 before its release, so I can appreciate it a lot more when the game finally comes out. While I only had a short time to enjoy the demo, it did remind me of why I like Souls games and Souls-like games so much, and why I want more and more people in Indian gaming communities to experience these amazing games. So if you enjoyed hearing about my experience, like the video and subscribe to the channel. Thank you, and I will see you next time.